a weird story. I've heard some stories in my time and a lot of weird ones. But I think I've seen it all. I've never heard one as wild as this one. It appears that a man killed his property owner, and he says that he was told to do it, not from a friend, not from an enemy, not from a person at all. He says a cockroach told him to do it. I kid you not. Let's go ahead and get into this story. What a doozy.
The man is behind bars this afternoon after deputies say he killed 2 people. Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies responded to a home near Isleta and Entrada Bonita Street where they found 2 people shot to death. 2 children are also found in the home, both safe. Deputies say they made contact with Alexis Hernandez, who told police he was in the Marines. Hernandez told deputies he knew the 2 victims and believed one of them was stalking him. According to the criminal complaint, Hernandez got an encrypted message in a cockroach saying he needed to kill. The complaint states the 2 suspects took Hernandez to the back of the home, and that's where Hernandez shot and killed the victims. He is facing 2 counts of murder.
So, I have heard weirder stories before in my life, but this one is just really bizarre. But there's one thing about this story that stood out to me about the whole cockroach thing. This guy apparently really believes that a cockroach sent him a message telling him that he needed to kill these people. And then I looked a little bit further. And there's some key details from his past that I wonder if it contributed to this type of behavior. Obviously, this seems like a type of mental illness happening here. Let's get into the details. And there's one thing that really stood out. Again, New Mexico man accused of killing 2 victims tells police a cockroach told him to do it. His name is Alexis Hernandez. He's 25. He said he received that message from the cockroach. So let's get into this. This is crazy stuff, man. On Friday, November 7th, 10:27 p.m. Again, this is in New Mexico. There were reports of gunfire near 1400 block Entrada Bonita S Southwest, I guess, per a Facebook post. When deputies arrived, they located 2 deceased males inside the residence with apparent gunshot wounds. 3 additional adults and young children were also found inside the home. The adults were detained for questioning, and the children were safely removed from the scene. The suspect has been identified as Alexis Hernandez, per an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by People magazine. So Alexis looked a little cuckoo. According to jail records seen by People, Hernandez, 25 years old, was booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center on Saturday morning, November 8th, and is facing 2 open counts of murder in the first-degree charges. After officers responded to the shooting on Friday, they were allegedly met by Hernandez at the front door, and he had a firearm on his waistband and a Marine Corps sabre on his hip. The arrest warrant affidavit filed at Bernalillo County Metropolitan Court stated, here's the part that really stood out. The Marine Corps, as you'll see further as we get into more information. So he was in the Marines. Now let's go back to the cockroach theory. This guy is obviously seeing and hearing things. And it kind of reminds me of some of these other military stories that we've talked about before on the show. A lot of them come out of Fort Bragg for whatever reason. But where these ex-soldiers seem to experience some type of, I don't know, some type of mental breakdown. Now, I don't know if he went to war or what. I don't know. But it's something that I've been noticing. And he was a Marine. So let's go on a little bit more here. Kill Your Gorgie said MK Cockroach. Oh my God. Yes, Timothy McVeigh. Yes, Danny, Timothy McVeigh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It goes on to say the suspect reportedly told officers he was in the Marines and had to do what he was told to do. This gets back to that mind control. Remember I was telling you about that? Eric says war will make you go crazy. Thank you, Saber. Thank you, Jenkins. But do you see what I mean? So he said he was in the Marines and he was told that he had to do what he had to do. He was detained and had allegedly said there were 2 bodies inside the property. This is apparently the Cockroach that told him to do this. Gives you MK Ultra vibes. Let's go on here. Hernandez allegedly believed that the owner of the property had been stalking him by placing cameras in the lights, the document stated. He also heard creepy voices coming from the vents. Now, again, I'm willing to bet these things weren't happening, but he believed it was. So he believed that his landlord or the property owner was stalking him. He believed that there were voices coming from the vents, and he was a Marine. Let's go on a little bit more here. Officers discovered a deceased man with possible gunshot wounds in the front of the house after entering the residence, while a second man with an apparent stab wound was found in an attached apartment, according to the warrant. One of the victims was the owner of the property, the report stated, with the authorities adding that the suspect had confirmed he knew both of the deceased men. Hernandez said he'd been getting signs to kill the property owner. The document stated that the suspect had received an encrypted message in a cockroach because the property owner didn't like cockroaches. This message told Alexis he needed to kill him, adding that the suspect had allegedly been seeing signs all around him that he saw and couldn't ignore. So here we go. And we got to start asking these questions, you guys. He's 25 years old. From what I remember, for men, signs of schizophrenia can start in their early adulthood, 18, 19, 25 appears to be a little bit later. But what is happening in the military? Because he was a Marine, they have health and wellness checks. They have physicals they have to do. I don't know if they still do the body taping, but they used to do body taping in the military where like you have to have your measurements have to be under a certain, number in order to, not get flagged, etc. So there's that. And then also like the military has a lot of different services that are available to you. So I would imagine that if he was hearing voices or something like that while he was in the military, somebody would have noticed that, don't you think? But he was a Marine. So the question is, did he start hearing these voices while he was in the military, or did he start hearing them after? Or is he still a Marine? What is happening here? Let's go on a little bit more here. The suspect had previously brought a Glock handgun for protection. Goes on to say that he was afraid for his life. So this was a real fear that this guy had. Hernandez then allegedly shot the property owner in the head and the other man in the kitchen. He then allegedly shot the victims again after going back to his Honda Pilot to reload his gun. The suspect insisted he was not going to take the 2 children that were in the house or do anything to them. But he did say he knew the juveniles were in the property and that they'd seen him shoot the 2 victims. The BCSO said in their Facebook post, this is the BCSO homicide detectives, have taken over the investigation. Detectives are continuing to gather evidence and interview witnesses. Additional information, including identities of those involved, will be released once the next of kin notifications are complete and the investigation allows so. The sheriff's office didn't immediately respond for contact by people. So what happened to this guy? What could have happened to him for him to believe that, I'll make this smaller so you can see his picture, for him to believe that a cockroach was telling him to kill the property owner? And again, it makes you wonder what's going on in the military. Also, looking at his face, I don't know, maybe this is, like it could be an acne situation, I don't know. But what happened to him? So Barron said homeboy looks like he is in communion with demons. He looks, I don't know. Soul said the first episode of psychosis in mid-20s, 30s is not uncommon. And what I wonder is, sometimes they say there has to be a trigger. Sometimes there's a trigger that can set this off. And I wonder if his experience in the Marines is what triggered it. So I don't know what's going on. I do know with the military in particular, people are asking about drugs. I mean, they drug test in the military. Like I said, they do the physicals, all those types of things. I don't know how he would get away with that. So something happened. And I really didn't believe this story at first. Someone sent it to me and I was like, there's no way this happened. And I looked into it and I was like, oh my God, this is a real case. I don't know. But it's scary. It's concerning because he ultimately did believe that his life was in danger. And then there's the whole cockroach part. Kind of gives me MK Ultra vibes. I don't know. But it also makes me wonder what is happening in the military. Because I've seen some things and I've heard some things. My family was military. I've seen some things and I've heard some things. And I know, a number of people that have fought in combat. And when the ones who did come back, when they came back, they were not okay. So I don't know, man. But that's a wild ass story. Wild ass story. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.